You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You know what time it is. It is Friday night, 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It is time for the SmackDown RunDown. I am here once again with my co-host of the most, King J.
The king has arrived.
That's right, and King J is not only going to be on the line with us tonight, we also have the lovely Sierra calling in.
Hello.
Long time no see, no speak. I haven't been around in the AngryMarks chat room this past week. I've had a very busy week. Have I missed anything? Please tell me no, because I don't think I have.
Did I miss anything? Is the question. I haven't been around.
Yeah, it's been that kind of a week for everybody. It seems everybody's so busy getting things done. Sierra, I'm hearing you're having some problems of your own. Your computer died again?
Yeah. For some reason, she died. And I have no idea why. I'm baffled because I'm just like, it was running fine, had no problems. And just out of nowhere one day I got the blue screen. And I'm like, what the hell?
So I guess that means it's going to be a while before we see you hanging around in the Angry Marks chat now, huh?
I hope not. I'm looking for something new anyways right now.
Don't worry, I'm in the same boat. I mean, my computer is working, but I am actually trying to look for a laptop so that, I can have something when I'm on the go so that I can be in the chat room or, host this show and be on other shows, listen to other shows, mainly chat with everybody else. So I'm in the same process as you looking for a new computer.
I put it on my Christmas list for Santa Claus.
Well, let's hope he brings it. I'm gonna try and find one on Black Friday if that's possible. So
you have fun with that.
Well, actually, I personally am not because I have to work. But Melissa, aka Cream, she's gonna weather the storm of the crowds. So God bless to her for that.
It's really a day for women to act crazy in the stores,
as opposed to any other time.
It really is. If you think about it, that is the one day of the year women who actually fight each other over a discount on a sweater.
True.
Not just fight over,
That's why
but
I don't go.
Not just fight over, but some people get killed for that. That's just insane.
That's why I don't go. I'm not getting popped off for getting 40% off shoes.
Smart.
Very, very smart.
So what do you say we get this rundown of SmackDown on the road?
Let's do it.
First things first, I want to mention that between tonight's SmackDown and this past Monday Night Raw, as both lead-in go-home shows for Survivor Series, I actually think Raw did a better job promoting Survivor Series because I was not impressed with this episode of SmackDown. King J, you and I discussed last week that the show last SmackDown a week ago felt like more like the go-home show. And judging it between this one and last week was better.
Last week was so much better as far as building to the actual pay-per-view. This week was kind of like, the pay-per-view's on Sunday. What the hell are you, doing?
Yeah, this week felt like after Survivor Series.
like they built for Randy versus Barrett, and then the Mark Henry and Big Show, even though they didn't have like any interaction. But I mean, they could have held off some of the stuff that they did last week for this week.
Now, Sierra, did you watch this episode of SmackDown?
Yeah. For the first time in I don't know how long, I actually watched the entire episode.
And how did you feel about it? Did you if you saw last week at all, or anything else to compare it with? Do you think this did a good build for Survivor Series?
You know what? I have to agree with you guys because, I saw bits and pieces of last week's show, and this week it was just like it was after Survivor Series, or they were just like getting ready to end feud to continue certain things and move everybody on. And I was just like, a lot of this, aside from the whole Mark Henry situation and Big Show, Wade Barrett and Randy Orton, their thing that's going on. Everything else just seemed like it was just thrown in there.
Yeah, nothing really seemed to flow right. I didn't have too good of while the show was going on, there was really nothing I could say or comment on because it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's just one of those things of it was just so lackluster.
And you remember in the chat, I was like commenting on like people dyeing their hair and crap like that, and I never comment on stuff like that because that was more interesting than half the stuff that was actually on SmackDown.
Yeah. Did either of you watch Raw this past Monday? I know it's been unbearable lately, but have you seen any bit of it at all?
I think we both watched up until the Mark Henry Alberto Del Rio match.
Yeah. Because around the time I stopped watching is when my computer gave me the blue screen.
And I stopped watching.
Because I had it streaming, and that was just it for me.
Oh, okay. Well, I was, as most people know, I was there live, but I did go back and watch it on DVR. So what I want to do tonight is I kind of want to compare Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and try to do my best to find out the build for Survivor Series because, like I said, like we've been saying this for the past 5 minutes, this episode of SmackDown really didn't do it. So I'm going to kind of like dig into a couple days ago and try to make this interesting and see if we can find some way if Survivor Series is watchable or not. How's that sound?
That's fine with me. Because, tonight didn't do anything for me. Besides piss me off.
All right, well, in order for us to actually make this scenario work, we might as well just talk about Survivor Series and run down the matches so that, maybe we can find out if there's anything worth it. And, we don't want to tell people to watch it. We don't want to tell people what to do. We want you to judge for yourselves. This is just our opinion, so
yeah.
We'll just try something new for this episode because, like I said, I really have no major comments for SmackDown.
One thing I do want to say, WWE, do not do the damn heart attack angle again with Teddy Long. Because I'm not for him having a heart attack and then him disappearing and someone taking his spot and then he has to fight to get his spot back. I'm not for all that again.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just to get that out of the way and a couple of other notes. The whole Oksana going after Teddy Long and saying all these subliminal sentences, and you called that last week. You said Why do we have to give Teddy Long some female to give him a heart attack? And he actually said on SmackDown tonight, "Get a hold of yourself, Teddy. You don't want another heart attack."
See, I've been calling it for weeks. I knew that's exactly what they were going with because she dyed her hair black and she started dressing like a femme fatale, Black Widow, and all that crap. So I was like, they're going to try and kill Teddy again. And I'm just not for it.
Yeah, the weird thing is with her character on SmackDown, because I just feel like whatever they're getting to this purpose, like Teddy Long is going to die again, supposedly, they're taking too long. You know, down in FCW, she's doing the same character, but the difference is she's portraying the Black Widow. She's, you know, telling lies and having the guys fight over her, and like now she's got like Richie Steamboat like under a curse under her or something like that. Like they are doing something totally different down there, and I'm just like, what is the point of Teddy Long getting another girlfriend? And then when she pops up, that music.
And this week she got lighting.
For the music.
And this week she got lighting.
Yeah, it's taking too long. I mean, some things that when they last long, you kind of want to see how they play out, but this is just not interesting in the first place. Like you said, we don't want another Teddy Long heart attack. I mean, give the man a break. He's been the longest running general manager of any show. So Raw has a rotating conundrum of confusing general managers. I mean, this is what, the fourth one we've had this year already?
I lost count.
And he's like the one consistent character, like, since 2005. He's been the one consistent character.
Right. Well, other than that Teddy Long debacle, the only other part of SmackDown that had nothing to do with Survivor Series was Ted DiBiase versus NXT quote-unquote redemption rookie Derek Bateman, and he actually had Maxine with him at ringside. I'm going to say I like Derek Bateman. He's a good athlete. He has a character going for him. So if they brought him up to the SmackDown roster, I would not have a problem with that because he had a good match with Ted DiBiase. It was short, but it was still good.
Yeah, he's good in the ring. And despite me not thinking that Maxine is attractive, she's good on the mic. So I could see her being his manager or someone else's manager down the line. So, I mean, they both have futures.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about that storyline is that, one, why do we have to have them be engaged? Can we just not have a female be a manager of a guy and not have to be engaged or in having some type of love affair with him? Like, why can't it just be, you're my client, I manage you, and that is it?
Well, we do have that with Vicky Guerrero and Jack Swagger.
Yeah, but before that, they were doing the whole love interest thing with Jack Swagger, and then, you know, Dolph Ziggler. You know, it's like, why can't we just have something where we don't have to have some, you know, cute love story. We can just have normal manager and a client. Because
those days of Sunny are gone. You know, King Jay, you actually showed me a clip earlier of a tag match back in 2006 of Chuck Palumbo and Michelle McCool versus Kenny Dykstra and Victoria. It was a mixed tag match, and they were a couple. Both teams were a couple. So it's kind of a constant in WWE because you don't have that anymore. So you're not going to get that for a while.
Well, okay. Nick was talking about him going to the March 5th, 2012 Raw, and I said I never went to a Raw. I've been to a SmackDown taping, and that was a SmackDown taping that I went to.
Lucky you.
So right, I got to see that.
Well, let's get back to it. Maxine, like you said, she's, good for a manager. She was in NXT in the she first showed up in NXT when it was all divas. And I said Derek Bateman, he's good in the ring. I don't care if he wins or loses NXT because we know that's never going to end. So no matter what, he's going to be on the roster. If he's on SmackDown, that's great. He's going to be on the roster because whoever wins NXT doesn't matter. Just like Caitlyn and AJ. Caitlyn is the one who won NXT, but yet AJ has had more TV time. They were even a tag team. They had a tag match with Natalya and Beth Phoenix. And listen, I've said this last night on the Thursday Night AMP. I love AJ and Caitlyn, but they are the Divas division of jobbers. Because that is the only way Natalya and Beth Phoenix can win a match. Because on Raw, Beth Phoenix loses to Kelly in less than 30 seconds. So, and her only offense was a stink face. That's embarrassing to Natalya, and they need to fight Caitlyn and AJ for just to build up their esteem.
Yeah, the whole thing is that I get what you're saying, but the main reason why Caitlyn and AJ are dropping into them is because, one, they're rookies and the lack of experience. Two, the main reason why, people have been saying this, the main reason why you see AJ so much is because she has something that I don't get from Caitlyn, and that's charisma. She has a likability of when you see her, you're excited. When I see Caitlyn, I'm like, child, please get some concealer for them bags under your eyes. And the thing with Natalya and Beth Phoenix, like tonight with this tag match, and Natalya won, and she's so excited, like she never won a match in her life. And I'm
it's
just
been a while.
I'm like, it's been a long
September.
while. It's been a long damn time. I was just like,
September.
If this is the only way she can win matches, which is tag matches, with the help of Beth Phoenix, then what was the point of actually teaming them together? And one of them is going to be the one that lays down all the time. Mind you, she was just one of the recent Diva champions. It does not make sense to me of when you had two girls, 6 months or so prior to this whole thing, dominating that entire roster, picking up wins with ease. And you have the two most dominant girls in the company laying down to a stink face and a roll-up.
Tell me about it. That is embarrassing, in my opinion. And just to go off a point that you said earlier, I'm not complaining that AJ and Caitlyn are jobbers because they are rookies, but it's the fact that in order for Natalya to get a win, she has to face Caitlyn and or AJ. She can't get a win over Eve. She can't get a win over Alicia Fox. She can't even get a win over Kelly. So it's stupid to have them, be the Divas of Destruction, Sisters of Salvation, whatever they want to call them, and they're not picking up wins. And especially Natalya, she's the mule. She's the rear end of this tag team, and she lays down for everybody, but she has to go back to the bottom of the ladder, so to speak, in order to get wins. And this match and last week of Kelly versus Natalya was supposed to build for Beth Phoenix and Eve. This had nothing. This whole week had nothing to do with Survivor Series. It was supposed to, but I got no feeling towards it.
Exactly. And go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
And the odd thing is, they keep talking about Eve versus Beth this Sunday. They had no interaction besides standing on the ring apron on Raw and yelling at each other.
Exactly.
What's that building towards?
Yeah. The thing is, because I was talking to Jeff about this Monday night, because unbeknown to me, I thought the way they were going the past couple of weeks where they had, and then having Kelly and Eve team up together, go against Beth and Natalya. Then they had Alicia Fox join in. And I thought they were going the way of having their usual Divas Survivor Series tag match. Well, Monday night, I find out that it's Eve versus Natalya. Oh, there's going to be Lumberjills at ringside. So I'm like, what is the point of any of this? Because none of this makes sense. You got Alicia Fox and Kelly and Eve basically as a team going against Beth and Natalya, who are supposed to be Divas Salvation, and then they're laying down, losing all the time. And then the rest of the roster of the girls, they're lost in this storyline. No one cares about where the other girls fit in, whose side are they on, or anything. And it just makes me like, what is the point? And then there's these rumors going around that Beth Phoenix and Natalya are supposed to be going at each other at WrestleMania. They're supposed to split up. And I'm like, okay, so we put them together to have Natalya job all the time, to split them up. That defeated the purpose of this entire storyline.
Exactly. And another thing that they're doing, like, over the past month, they've been laying little seeds of Caitlyn possibly joining them, because they did some interview with her and AJ on WWE.com, and they were sitting there talking, and Caitlyn talking about how she's the hybrid of a model and a wrestler, and then she's like wearing these She-Hulk / Wonder Woman outfits, and she's like being real physical in matches with Tamina and Maxine, picking up wins, using submissions and all this other stuff. And then tonight after the match, she got pissed off at AJ for losing the match.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go ahead.
Speaking of that whole thing with Caitlyn and Tamina the past couple weeks in NXT, I understand Tamina is also basically a rookie also, but I don't understand how you have this girl on Superstars beating the living red hair off of Alicia Fox and everybody else. Then she gets on NXT, she is being murdered by Caitlyn, who really still is green in the ring. And I'm just like, if anything, Tamina should be with Beth Phoenix and Natalya teaming together, and instead, we got all these girls in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know if the Bella Twins are even employed at this point, because you never see any of the girls.
Wow. And my thing with Tamina is every match that she's in, she dominates the entire match, and then she magically loses.
Yeah.
Like, she lays down for all of her opponents, and I'm like, shouldn't you have her working with Natty and Beth, being their stooge, the one who loses the matches, and they're teaching her to get better and dominate for future generations?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. What I'm getting from this Divas division, just how it's being booked, what I'm getting is Kelly versus either Natalya or Beth Phoenix, or Kelly and Eve versus Beth and Natalya, or I'm getting Eve, Kelly, and Alicia Fox versus Beth, Natalya, and I don't know, Tamina. Or what I'm getting is possibly a Survivor Series match of Kelly, Eve, Alicia, AJ, and Caitlyn versus Beth, Natalya, Tamina, and the Bella Twins. But no, instead we have Beth Phoenix and Eve. Huh? None of that. What I just mentioned leads towards Beth and Eve. So I don't know how this happens. I don't even know how Eve is the number one contender. And they made a mistake with this match. They should have had it as a Survivor Series match, but instead we get all the Diva Bimbos out there for a Lumberjill match, just so that they can be on TV and or on pay-per-view and get a paycheck just for that. You know what? I don't care. I've really lost my respect for Natalya. Whatever. It's a storyline. I don't care. It's just like Daniel Bryan. He's on a losing streak. I've lost any care for him. Kofi Kingston on a losing streak. I've lost care for him. John Morrison was on a losing streak. I lost care for him. Natalia's on a losing streak. I lost care for her. It's just the same story.
And you know, it's the sad thing is with what they're doing with Natalia. It's just like you have this girl, third generation diva, has all the credentials and the potential to be one of your, you know, top divas in your company. There's not a thing she does not know how to do in the ring. You know, people are, you know, when they had her face and she's champion, people were behind her, and you have her laying down to girls that, you know, even to the youngest kids in the audience that, you know, believe everything that happens in the ring WWE. When they see Natalia lose to a roll-up by Kelly Kelly, they don't even believe it. And it's just like, I can't sit up and believe Natalia Neidhart can lose to Kelly Kelly over a roll-up. It just does not make any kind of conflict. That's like telling me that, what is a good example? Taylor Hendricks beating up Bull Nakano with a roll-up.
That's never going to happen.
If somebody ever told me something like that, I would lose my mind, because I would be like, that does not make any kind of common sense. And the thing with Kelly Kelly is the offense she's doing against her opponents, which is like 5 moves: scream, slam head on the mat, spin face, handspring face crusher, maybe another spin face, K2 roll up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what this is your former Divas champion that you were shoving down our throat. I'm supposed to be excited to see that.
You know, I'll have to say Taylor Hendricks is way better than Kelly Kelly, but we're kind of dragging this whole conversation on, so
we're just beating a dead horse.
Yeah, if either of you feel like giving a prediction for Beth Phoenix versus Eve, go right on ahead.
Eve. I'm picking Eve.
Okay.
I just want this to be done.
I'm in the same boat. I just want it to be done. Either let Beth win the title and her and Natty move on to something better, keyword better, or just give the belt to Eve and just keep doing the same old shuffle with the belt. Because at this point, I'm more interested in the Knockouts division, which makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I think they're going to give the title to Eve because they're starting to shove her down our throats now. So, Eve all around, clean sweep, moving on. Let's talk about the classic Survivor Series match, which, when we made our predictions, we weren't that far off. We were about 3 people wrong. But for the official match, it's Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, Sin Cara, Mason Ryan, and Sheamus versus Wade Barrett, Cody Rhodes, Unico, Jack Swagger, and replacing the injured Christian will be Dolph Ziggler. Now, for the past couple of weeks, we here at AngryMarks.com on various podcasts on the network have complained about the way this is going. No build for it. 2 weeks ago on Raw, there was no mention of it. Last week on SmackDown, they had a fantastic show with a great build to Survivor Series. This past Monday night on Raw, they had 3 hours, but yet they spent one segment, which was Orton versus Barrett, and we had the classic clusterfuck finish of everybody getting thrown around the ring, and one team stands tall. Tonight on SmackDown, it was sprawled out throughout the show. You started off with Sin Cara and Dolph Ziggler, which led into Jack Swagger and Mason Ryan. At some point, we had Kofi Kingston versus Unico, And in the tag team main event was Randy Orton and Sheamus versus Wade Barrett and Cody Rhodes. Now, I like that they did this. They had separate matches of every man involved. But in my opinion, Raw had the better go-home preview to Survivor Series.
I agree. The only issue that I had with the matches tonight was they favored all the stuff more towards Team Orton than they did Team Barrett. Team Barrett only picked up one victory tonight.
That's true. That is very, very true.
So it was kind of like, what the hell?
You know what my issue is with this match is, you want to talk about being shoved down your throat. Mason Ryan. Look, I know he's big, he's a new guy, but I'm sorry. When I watched Raw and he came out there, the look on people's faces was like, who? Who's that? Oh, is that Batista? Oh, no, he don't do his hair. That can't be him. I don't know what they're trying to get me to like about this guy, shoving him down my throat. I don't care. For God's sake, you know what made me really angry about this whole situation is, no, I don't have anything against Zack Ryder, but for God's sake, why couldn't they give that spot in that tag match to Zack Ryder, who has a feud that's going on with Dolph Ziggler?
Exactly.
I mean, even to John Morrison, who is walking around not doing a damn thing, but all of a sudden, he has a title match.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute, but that's also my problem. I mean, we have Mason Ryan and Kofi Kingston, two guys I would easily replace with Zack Ryder and John Morrison. The reason why I say Kofi, I mean, you already mentioned Mason Ryan. I don't have to go into that. But the reason why I say Kofi is because Evan Bourne is currently in a suspension. And Kofi has been by himself. And he's forced to be in this by himself. We could have just written him out of TV, put him in an injury, say that both of Airboom are taken out. That way we're not just stuck with one half and we're wondering where Evan Bourne is. For people and little kids who don't read the internet, it's, we're left wondering, why is it just Kofi? Why is he by himself? You could have just written him off TV as well. And you could easily put John Morrison in that spot. Or take Mason Ryan out, but yet they want to build him up for whatever reason. I will say that he had a watchable match with Jack Swagger on SmackDown tonight. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. It was nice. It was nice to see him actually have a longer match and against an opponent of his size. It was good for Jack Swagger too, because on Raw it was Jack Swagger versus Sheamus, and that was a boring match.
Oh God, it was atrocious.
See, I don't like Mason Ryan. I don't know what it is about him, but there's no connect. He reminds me. It's not that he reminds me of Batista. It's the fact that he's just one of these overly muscled dudes who serves no purpose other than he fits WWE's perfect mold of what they want a superstar to look like. So I'm like, I have no connection. I don't want to see this guy. I'd rather see someone like Zack Ryder, who is over with the fans and can have a decent match, versus somebody who has 3 moves and is the white version of Ezekiel Jackson.
Yeah, you know another thing? I'm not sure, but didn't Kofi and Zack Ryder team before when Evan Bourne got hurt or something like that? Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. They should have put Zack Ryder on a team because it would make common sense of the kids would have known, oh, they're friends. Let's put them on the team together. That would make more common sense to me. I guess the reason why Kofi's in the match is because he's one half of the tag team champions. And I mean, if I've seen that, I'll be like, okay, that, makes sense to me. There's something going on there. But I'm just confused on, I know they had this thing going, Mason Ryan and Vicky Guerrero and whatever the heck's going on, but I'm just like, why is he here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I do not like his father. I don't like him, and I don't like his sister. I just don't like the family of Batista. I just don't like them. Don't.
All right. Well, let's get our predictions for that match at Survivor Series. Let's start with Sierra. Which team do you think will win, and who do you think will be the surviving members?
You know what? I want to pick the heels in this situation. Because, do the faces even need to win? And as somebody to be last one, so Survivor, Cody Rhodes, I'm guessing.
As a sole survivor?
Yeah.
Okay, King J?
Team Barrett, and it'll either be Barrett or Barrett and Cody.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree because we've mentioned this for a couple weeks now. Wade Barrett is on a roll. The Barrett Barrage is running through Sheamus and Randy Orton. So I think in order for this to make sense, keyword sense, as if the WWE writing team will have the sense to put him over, it should be Wade Barrett going over in this match, and he will either be the sole survivor or he will survive with Dolph Ziggler. And speaking of Ziggler, that's not his only match at the pay-per-view. Yes, he has to defend his United States Championship because Ziggler will be in a second match at the pay-per-view. And no, it is not against the man who has been asking for people to sign his petition. Because why would WWE put someone in their hometown on pay-per-view in a title match? No clue. Because that's not what they do. They don't like giving people in their hometown a victory. So if Zack Ryder were to win, that would be wrong in WWE standards because he's home. So instead, let's give it to John Morrison, the guy who's been on a losing streak and decides to get one win last week and show up for 5 minutes. No, let me rephrase that. 1 minute or less on Raw just to throw Ziggler back in the ring to feed him to Mason Ryan. What? Ziggler versus Morrison?
You know what? When I seen that on Raw, because I haven't been watching, the WWE past couple weeks, when I seen him come out there on Raw and throw Ziggler back in the ring, and I was like, the first thing that popped up in my mind is, why is John Morrison out here? Shouldn't it be Zack Ryder?
Exactly.
And then I was just sitting there confused because I'm like, one, I didn't realize he was still working there. Two, where did he come from, and how is he number one contender?
The way they're explaining it is because he got a win over Dolph a couple weeks ago or something.
Oh, okay. Old school logic. You win over the champ, you're number one contender.
Yeah, but they actually tried to explain that on SmackDown, and it failed because Michael Cole was, saying that because Morrison got a win in a non-title match over Ziggler, that John Laryngitis gave him a title shot at the pay-per-view because he's been on some sort of losing streak, and now he gets a win over the champion that earns him a title shot. But yet, Zack Ryder, and this is where that explanation was flawed, because Josh Matthews had pointed out that Jack Swagger has been getting pinfall victories over Ziggler for weeks in a row. And apparently he doesn't really earn it because he's been doing well for himself. Huh? So if you're in a losing streak and you get one win, you get a title match, but yet if you're on a hot streak, you don't?
So that means that Ted has a shot for the World Heavyweight title now? What?
I guess Daniel Bryan does, too.
But see, this goes back to what I've been saying for months and months when everybody was putting their head out on me for saying about Zack Ryder. I knew if they did give this kid a push to make all the fans happy, that somehow they were going to fuck it up. And look, where he's at now, he's running around getting a petition signed. He's not even number one contender. And this guy who's been losing since the beginning of the year is number one contender because he gets a win over the champ. And mind you, he was not even feuding with the champ.
Exactly.
It just does not make sense to me of how you have this guy who is so popular, and all of a sudden you got on the boat to endorse this guy, and everybody is behind him. He's been feuding for this guy for the past, 3 months, and all of a sudden he gets one match with the guy for the title, he loses, and now it's like, Zack Ryder who? Oh no, John Morrison's here. What?
It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
I just don't. And I'm not a huge fan of Zack Ryder, but when I see bullshit, I call that bullshit because I don't like how that was done.
It was real shady.
Took the words right out of my mouth because that was a shady move. So,
and from what I heard, it was because Vince is trying to convince him to stay, so he gave him a win.
Oh, boo-hoo. Whatever. Let's get our predictions for this match. Does Ziggler retain or does Morrison win?
This one is hard because I want Ziggler to retain so that they hopefully get common sense and continue this thing with Zack Ryder. But knowing WWE, they'll put it on Morrison.
Yeah. That's what I want. I want Dolph to win, but I could see WWE doing the swerve and taking it off of him.
Earlier in the week I would be so sure and say Ziggler would win because I like Ziggler. I like his character. He's ready to step up into the upper mid card or lower main event card, so kind of in that little category. But with this whole thing with Morrison and all of a sudden he has a title match, I thought he was going to win the Intercontinental title against Cody Rhodes a couple months ago, but they might give him the United States Championship if they really want him to stay.
I could see that happening too.
Who knows? I just hope that they have common sense with this and keep it on Ziggler. I just don't think right now you need to take the belt off of him.
Yeah. So let's quickly run through the next two matches because they are the heavyweight title matches, and mind you, they don't feature John Cena or Randy Orton for the first time in a while.
Oh God.
Ooh.
WWE Championship, Alberto Del Rio versus CM Punk. And neither of them have really been on SmackDown. They've been doing their whole push on Raw. What do you guys think about CM Punk saying he wants to bring fun back to the WWE and the championship? Do you believe him? And will he win the title at Survivor Series? King J, I'll start with you.
I think right now Del Rio needs to keep the belt so he doesn't have another one of those short title reigns. But they could keep pushing CM Punk, saying that he wants to bring back fun. All he wants. Is it really going to change? We'll never know. So I say Del Rio keeps the belt.
Okay, Sierra?
You know, I think that they should keep the belt on Del Rio because we don't need another short title reign at this point. And if they do keep it on him, is he and CM Punk going to continue their feud, or are they going to move him on to somebody else? But another thing with CM Punk, talking about bringing fun back to WWE, you can bring all the fun you want. That doesn't mean I'm going to watch.
I think I'm going to go with CM Punk in this because when he was champion back in the summer after Money in the Bank, it was a lot more interesting. Del Rio. Well, that's the point. He was the centerpiece. Right now, sometimes I forget Del Rio is a WWE champion because he shows up briefly and that's it. CM Punk has been a staple this whole summer and fall that for the past few months he's been the guy to watch. He's been funny. You know, he's had this huge face turn, and the fact that he keeps saying what everybody else is thinking, no matter if it's scripted or not, it's still refreshing to hear. So I think Del Rio has had a good title run, better than this first one, because that only lasted a month. This time he's in 2 months. He beat John Cena, but I don't think he'll beat CM Punk.
Yeah, and you know another thing with Del Rio, like you said, you forgot he was the champ. So did I, because I think what it is, where now they made him more so like he's super serious and we hardly see him. They've gotten away from the whole thing of he's elaborate, all these fancy cars, always doing all these things. And it's kind of like, I wish they would kept that going to remind people that, hello, he's the champ, he's a big deal. You should know who he is and should care.
I wish they kept that going if he was mid-card champion, but not heavyweight champion. I think it was too early.
Yeah.
So let's get to the heavyweight title match. Big Show and Mark Henry. On SmackDown tonight, not much of a preview. Mark Henry just destroyed Daniel Bryan at the beginning for whatever reason.
My poor baby.
And then Big Show came out for promo. Not that promising. It's just talking, and they had a better build on Raw in the tag team match.
They did. I mean, I understand why they wanted to limit their interaction, but they should have had some sort of like face-to-face confrontation tonight.
Yeah.
To keep the spark going, because I honestly muted the Big Show's promo because it was boring me.
I don't watch any of his promos. You know what? Even if they did a back and forth promo where they had Mark Henry on the screen and Big Show in the ring, something. But with that, just Big Show talking, and I'm like, am I really supposed to care? After you just watch what was about 10 minutes of my poor fiance being killed by Mark Henry, Big Show comes out there and cuts a promo. What?
Yeah. And neither of these guys had a match on SmackDown. So it wasn't that special.
See, I'm kind of okay with them not having matches, but at the same time, you had Mark Henry beat up Daniel Bryan, and then Big Show knocked out Jinder Mahal, who I'm still trying to figure out why he did not leave when Great Khali left, but that's besides the point. Like,
that was hilarious.
I was so happy when I saw that.
And then you just see Tyson Kidd like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave.
That was funny.
When he slapped him, I was like, where the hell have you been this whole time? This guy's been annoying me.
Thank you. Why wasn't he around when Kali's sister was getting beat up?
Right.
Yeah, I don't get that. That was just strange. That whole thing tonight on SmackDown, it was just like, okay, Daniel Bryan gets attacked. Big Show's like, I'm so sorry you got hurt, man. I'm going to go get him. Instead of him going on this tirade of where he is just beating the hell out of everybody because he can't get to Mark Henry, he goes to the ring and puts a promo. What?
So who do you see winning the title match at Survivor Series? Sierra?
It better be Mark.
It better be Mark.
I mean, some checks are coming in handy.
I'm starting to wonder if they're going to give it to the Big Show just because he hasn't had a title in forever.
I don't need him to have a title.
And that's the point. He doesn't need a title. But if they're smart, they leave it on Mark.
You know what? Speaking of that with the Big Show, before the night, I saw they were going to put on Big Show. But then I started thinking, okay, at some point, Mark Henry and Daniel Bryan are going to have a match for that belt. Because Mark can't just go around and keep attacking them for no reason. Something's going to have to come of that. So I think they're going to leave it on Mark so that they'll eventually have their match at WrestleMania. I see Mark holding it that long.
So do I. And another thing, Kane's supposed to be coming back soon.
Oh, God.
So he'll have a score to settle.
That should be interesting. So, we have one more match. And it's been done to death. It's been talked about for the past month. So, Sierra, give us your final thoughts about Awesome Truth versus John Cena and The Rock, and who you think will win at Survivor Series.
Obviously, The Rock and Cena are going to win. Second, am I the only one that does not care about this match whatsoever, besides the fact we get to see The Rock?
I don't care. I'm picking the ring post. I haven't cared since this match was rumored to be happening.
Yeah, I heard that this match was happening, but I only heard Cena and The Rock were teaming up. I thought that they were going to be a part of Survivor Series matches or having different opponents. But when I found out it was Awesome Truth, I'm thinking they're wasting The Rock on these guys. So the build to this match has been lackluster. It's been wrong for all the wrong reasons. It's been poorly built.
Yes.
And is nothing going for it. Did either of you see The Rock's promo on Raw?
Yeah, I saw that.
I did tune back in to see that.
And do you think that had any build towards Survivor Series?
Yeah, it did, because it still played into the dynamic of Dwayne and John not trusting each other. So that was a good thing. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, so they're going to be beefing the whole time they're tagging. So we're just going to have one of these tag teams where they hate each other, except after the pay-per-view, we're not going to see Dwayne till around, like, the week before the Rumble or something.
You know what? Speaking of that, we've all been saying this for the longest time. Tag teams that hate each other are getting to the point of, we don't need this anymore. I would rather, when they had this rumor about The Rock was going to be a Survivor Series, I thought they were going to do a traditional Survivor Series tag team match where Rock has his team and Cena has his. No. WWE was like, well, let's team them together because they hate each other, and they're going to go against a team that one has nothing to do with either one. It's just, I'm confused, and Miz and R-Truth look confused. The Rock looks confused of, why am I here? John Cena looks more confused of, why am I doing this bullshit?
And that's the thing. Because I can tell the 2 times that Rock showed up that he's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. They all look confused. It doesn't flow right. There's been poor build to it. We've only had one appearance from The Rock live. The other was on Titantron for no reason. And it really makes me not care who wins. I would obviously watch to see The Rock wrestle again because it's been forever. I want to see how he's been training. So that's the only thing. I don't really care who wins. I don't care.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. No one has interest invested in who's winning. It's more so just the thing of, it's The Rock back in the ring after 7 years.
Yeah, I think that's honestly all it is, ooh, The Rock's going to be on pay-per-view. Let's see how well this goes.
Right. And the build for this pay-per-view is not anticipation. It's simply intrigue.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's going to do it for the Survivor Series preview, the SmackDown rundown, and all the other stuff that we tried to tie into it. So, final question. Sierra, is Survivor Series a pay-per-view to order or simply skip matches?
If you're a diehard WWE fan, then order it. But if you're fans like us that watch casually, it's nothing to go insane over. There's some good matches, but a lot of it is just like, That's my reaction.
King J, with Survivor Series being one of the biggest pay-per-views of WWE's calendar year, is this year worth it, being the 25th anniversary?
I wish I could say definitively yes, but I can't. I mean, I'm legitimately only interested in the traditional tag team match because I'm a fan of a lot of people in that match. And Mark Henry versus Big Show because I'm personally invested in that match. Other than that, I don't think pay-per-view is biased.
That seems to be the theme all around. So, I'm only interested in the heavyweight title matches, both of them. Other than that, just to watch The Rock wrestle. So that's going to do it for the SmackDown rundown. Sierra, any last words?
First off, who found Ezekiel Jackson, and why didn't we get a video package for him on SmackDown? Second, Tuesday, November 22nd, WWE 12 comes out. And I'm
That's
ready.
right. That's right. Hopefully we'll have a chance to review that sometime soon on one of the shows on this network. King J, final words.
I'm done with school for the quarter. I finished up last night at midnight. I can finally sleep again. I'm happy.
Good job.
And
congratulations.
Thank you. And I got all A's, so I'm good.
Look at you. Oh, we gotta give him a sticker.
And I'm excited for WWE 12.
Oh,
As am I.
And another thing, side note, Ring of Honor Glory by Honor is this weekend. What the hell?
Wow.
Why is
It's
everything this weekend?
a big weekend coming up. There's even UFC, so find time to watch some of these great shows, great pay-per-views. hopefully you'll find them great if you decide to order them. And I hope it's not a letdown. So that's going to do it for this week's edition of the SmackDown Rundown. I'd like to thank my co-hosts King J and Sierra for joining me tonight. And have a safe weekend, everybody, and good night.